Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we are here for an Oct Poe Ber wrap-up, the month that actually was, as opposed to the month that we started out with. Now, this is slightly different than the Oct Poe Ber TBR as it was announced, but there are a few extra videos thrown into the mix as well. Now, hopefully the accuracy of the 2024 Oct Poe Ber TBR will be better than this year, though the pieces pretty much all remained what was announced. The order of these moved around quite a bit, but the big mission for October was to balloon the Edgar Allan Poe playlist, which actually did not exist on the channel prior to Oct Poe Ber 2023. There were some Edgar Allan Poe videos, to be sure, to be found on the channel, but not enough to constitute their own playlist. That playlist now stands at 32 videos, and judging by the number of times the playlist itself has been viewed, this is an analytic that we have through the YouTube Creator Studio. Though young, the playlist is relatively successful as far as that is concerned. So what did we do here? We started off the month on a Sunday with The Premature Burial, a short story from Edgar Allan Poe, leading into Monday the 2nd, Lenore, which is, of course, a poem by Edgar Allan Poe, and Tuesday the 3rd, The Cask of Amontillado, which is another short story by Edgar Allan Poe. This was also my first month really toying with AI art creation for the thumbnails involved. There were a couple comments on that as the month went on, but something I'm not sure how to institute in the future. See, with Edgar Allan Poe's pieces, they are all really sort of plot specific. That is to say that they are not normally considered to be literary fiction because they are not driven by the characters involved as much as the situations which are employed by Edgar Allan Poe. Now, the situations employed by Edgar Allan Poe offer themselves very nicely to actual images. You feed a description into an AI art generator, and you can get an image that may very well have taken place in that poem or that short story. And luckily enough, AI generators seem to even know what Edgar Allan Poe looks like, so you're able to put Edgar Allan Poe into those situations, and it makes for a pretty good thumbnail, in my opinion. Now, on Wednesdays, we had our continuation of the Holly read-along from Stephen King. Still, not my favorite Stephen King novel. Still, not one of my favorite novels, probably in my bottom 10th percentile of novels as far as enjoyability, but it is much easier to read and force myself through, I must admit, than was Fairy Tale last year. So on Wednesdays, we had episode 5 the first week, episode 6, episode 7, and then episode 8 on the 25th of October. But then, down there on the 25th, we had our first of 3 two-a-days here with a read-along or a read-through of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I was working on another project with AI art, but I was just not able to get it through, to get it done in time. Maybe it will come through in next year's Oct Poe Ber. I am not sure. I will have to keep all the files that long or be working on it until then. But whatever the case, on Thursday the 5th, we had the first of a new series here on the channel, Dickinson's Darkest Poem. The darkest poem, in my opinion, from Emily Dickinson. This is a direction in which I want the channel to sort of largely tilt in the future. See, I think that the utility to a channel like this, and I'm always thinking about that, I don't want this to just be what I want to make as a creator. I think that you guys are here watching a video, something so lame as a wrap-up video. I owe you. And I think that part of the utility to a channel like this is the reviews. I think that is a very large part. That is how someone extends what it is that they know to be literature, whether it's agreeing with my reviews or not, or finding my discussions and liking them or disagreeing with them. I think that that is a large part of the growth of literature online, is the searchability offered by those types of videos. But these types of videos, Dickinson's darkest poem, Poe's darkest poem, the darkest detail in The Shining, the darkest detail in As I Lay Dying, these are sort of that next, I don't want to, not condescendingly do I say this, but they're sort of the next level, in my opinion, of the discussion of literature, in that, as opposed to, for example, a review or discussion of a short story, I'm not talking about the thing comprehensively. In these videos, Dickinson's darkest poem, Poe's darkest poem, I'm assuming that you have the knowledge of the poem coming into the video. But I don't think you have to. The struggle for me as a creator will be to make a point which is interesting enough that whether the viewer has any knowledge of the poem in question or not, the point is valid, and the point can stand as valid regardless of whether or not someone agrees with my point of view on the poem. That is to say, a viewer can say, okay, well, I don't agree with you as to the moral of the poem or short story or novel, but if you take it that way, I can understand this argument. So I think that those videos are sort of a second level to what we're doing here, and on Fridays, we had 2 of the weekly reader installments that I think are a separate level entirely, sort of a meta level. On Friday the 6th, we had What Are Ghost Stories?, where I went and I looked back at the earliest ghost stories that we think we have and sort of offer some idea as to what I believe ghosts are, ghost stories, what the place of ghosts in literature in general is. And on Saturday, we had a gold pocket watch from a cache of videos that I found from 2020 or 2021, I can't quite remember now, that I had never posted. So I used them as fillers on Saturdays here, which really allowed me the ability to make the longer, or not the longer videos, but the more editing intensive videos like Dickinson's darkest poem and Poe's darkest poem. You can see that those two, that series fell off as the month went on. On Sunday the 8th, The Telltale Heart, the short story from Edgar Allan Poe. On the 9th, The Haunted Palace, the poem from Edgar Allan Poe. And on the 10th, The Fall of the House of Usher, from Edgar Allan Poe, obviously. And by this point, I had read The Premature Burial, The Haunted Palace, and The Fall of the House of Usher, and maybe The Cask of Amontillado for the first time. And shamefully enough, there were 10 of these pieces that would be my first time reading through them. On Thursday the 12th, we had Poe's darkest poem. On the 13th, Friday there, we had Why Zombie?, a journey into the idea of apocalyptic literature. On the 14th, a non-urgent poem from Charles Bukowski. On the 15th, The Oval Portrait, from Edgar Allan Poe, The Mask of the Red Death on the 16th, and The Pit and the Pendulum on the 17th. These 3-block videos of Edgar Allan Poe as the month went on really became a place where I could return to and have a little bit of idea how well the week itself was going to go. On the 19th, we had The Raven. On the 20th, another video from that cache of videos that I had never posted, 15 minutes with The Silence of the Lambs opening paragraph. On the 21st, A Smile to Remember, a poem discussion with Charles Bukowski. The Black Cat on the 22nd. To My Mother by Edgar Allan Poe on the 23rd, and The Sleeper from Edgar Allan Poe on the 24th. I was not planning on doing The Sleeper last month, but there is a new tool in the YouTube Creator Suite, which is what is it called? Let me get to it real quick. It is a research tab. And when I typed in Edgar Allan Poe, the first thing that popped up was The Sleeper. Honestly, I had never heard of The Sleeper as a poem from Edgar Allan Poe, but I went ahead and did it, and I kind of liked it. Then we had The Murders in the Rue Morgue, and that was one of the stories that I had never read before, and wow, what a weird one. The 27th, A Dream. By the way, The Murders in the Rue Morgue, I had no idea that it created the cultural zeitgeist that apparently it did. That is something definitely worth looking into, and it was something that was big even in the early days of cinema. What a weird thing. On the 27th, we did A Dream Within a Dream, a reading to that poem that I don't think I've ever really contemplated before that time. The 28th, As Old as Woe, one of the old videos from videos that I had never posted. On the 29th, The Devil in the Belfry, another weird Edgar Allan Poe story. On the 30th, we had a double up 10 opening paragraphs from Edgar Allan Poe, which is just a collection of me reading the opening paragraph from the stories, and Spirits of the Dead is a poem from Edgar Allan Poe. One of my favorite, by the way, thumbnails from last month. On the 31st, we had 22 minutes of Edgar Allan Poe's poetry, basically a rounding up of all the poetry that we had done this month, put into a video that is just the voiceover and the poem. And finally, the weirdest Edgar Allan Poe that I think I've ever read, The Angel of the Odd. Very much an odd one and not a scary one. So maybe unfortunate that fell on Halloween itself, but it was what it was. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what I do here on the channel, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button in order to stick around for more. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.